Help me reach 7,000 subscribers. Please like the video and share your thoughts in the comments. Your feedback helps make the content better. She did it on a Tuesday, standing at the sink, rinsing a plate she hadn't touched. I feel trapped, Lawrence said. Like marriage is a box. I need to figure out who I am outside of this. I was setting 2 glasses on the counter. She moved one away with a fingertip like it might bite her. She used to laugh when I teased her for being dramatic. That night she was clinical, like a dentist describing a root canal. Trapped by what? I asked. Me, the mortgage, or the dog? By the whole picture, she replied. Expectations. The routine. Routine like dinner together and planning the weekend? I leaned on the island. Wild stuff. She shrugged, eyes on the faucet. You won't understand. Try me. I just told you. I didn't poke further. We'd been fine. No fireworks, no sirens, just regular life. I figured she'd had a bad week. I did the dumb husband math. A couple of thoughtful dates, a short trip, more patience. This will pass, I told myself and cleaned the pans. If I'd known where it was headed, I wouldn't have cleared the dishes. I would have cleared the stage. I booked a table at a small Italian place we both liked. I brought flowers home, nothing flashy. She glanced at them like they were paperwork. You didn't have to, she said, grabbing her bag. I know. I wanted to. The drive was quiet. I started light. Your podcast still yelling about productivity? It's not yelling, she answered, checking her phone. It's empowering. At the restaurant, the host recognized us. Lauren gave a polite smile that looked rented. Over appetizers, she tapped her wine stem and announced, casual as weather, if I could put marriage on pause for 6 months, I would. Just to breathe. The couple in the next booth turned their heads. I set my fork down. You want to put me on a shelf? I replied. It's not about you. She lifted her menu as a shield. It's about me. Convenient. You're doing that thing, she said, a small laugh clipped on the end, where you make everything a courtroom. I'm doing the thing where I respond to a statement about freezing our life. That was hypothetical. Sure, I said, and I'm hypothetically not paying the check. She looked past me. See? Box. Rules. Pressure. I breathed. What do you need from me? Space, she said. Less touch. Less checking in. Got it. Less husband, more air. She didn't argue. That was the first red flag, not the request, the lack of investment. If she'd pushed for counseling, a boundary, a change in schedule, fine. Instead, she slid distance across the table like a bill and waited for me to tip. We drove home. She went to the guest room with a book. I stood in the doorway. Lauren, I tried. I'm here. I'm not your warden. That's sweet, she answered without looking up. Lock the door, please. I don't lock doors inside the house. Tonight you do. I locked it. If you're thinking I should have drawn a line harder right there, you're probably right. I still had faith. I thought a man earns his marriage every day, so I started paying double. At work, my friend Marcus slid a coffee toward me. You look like you slept on a bus. Guest room, I said. Voluntarily. She wants room to breathe. What's your move? Make the house feel bigger, I said, half joking. Trip, dinners, saying yes. He shook his head. Don't chase fog. Set a fence. Invite her inside. If she declines, you've got your answer. I hear you, I told him, but I'm going to try kindness first. You do you, man. Just don't offer up your spine as a centerpiece. That night I grilled steaks, set candles, played our old playlist. I didn't push. Lauren sat, complimented the seasoning like a polite neighbor, and spent the next 15 minutes discussing a yoga workshop that sounded suspiciously like a weekend away. When is it? I asked. Saturday to Monday, she replied, stabbing a tomato. No phones. Digital detox. I'll drive you, I offered. No, she cut in. I'll drive myself. It's kind of solo. Right. She watched my face. Don't get weird. I'm not weird. I'm efficient. I lifted my glass. If the plan is solo, I'll book a fishing trip. Same dates. I'll be doing my own reset. You don't even fish. I do now. That was initiative 1. I mirrored the rule without pouting. If we're doing separate space, then I have my own schedule. No waiting on the couch like a lighthouse. She softened. Okay, that's fair, she said. I appreciate you giving me room. She came around the table and kissed my cheek. Quick. You're a good man. It felt like a ribbon on a grenade. Still, the attention soothed the edge. That night, she curled up next to me on the couch and absent-mindedly ran a hand over my arm. For 20 minutes, the house felt like ours. Then a notification lit her screen. She turned it face down. "You can answer," I told her. "It's nothing," she said. "Spam." She got up to make tea. The ribbon rolled under the stove. On Friday, we were at a patio happy hour for my department. Lauren came because she likes my boss's wife, Jen. Halfway through, after the second round, conversation drifted to first dates. Lauren leaned back and announced loud enough for the table. If I could go back, I'd tell 25-year-old me not to settle so fast. Explore. Learn yourself. Marriage can be suffocating. Forks paused. Jen shot me a glance. Marcus put his drink down. I kept my voice flat. "You're at my work event." Lauren smiled, as if I'd set up her line. "It's just honesty. People are afraid of it." Marcus cleared his throat. "Honesty has timing." She waved him off. "You all know what I mean." "Not sure we do," I said. "But here's some honesty. This is a tough topic for that venue." I nodded to the group. "Let's keep the marriage takes for podcasts." She laughed. "Can't handle pushback?" "I can handle boundaries." "Different thing." I faced the table. "Excuse me, folks. We're heading out. Early start tomorrow." We left with a pile of polite goodbyes. In the parking lot, she paced in front of me. "You embarrassed me," she said. "You embarrassed yourself," I replied. "You want space? Fine. Do not turn my life into a seminar." It was a joke. It wasn't. I unlocked the car. New rule. Personal topics stay personal. At work, we're Switzerland. At home, we talk. She crossed her arms. "You're controlling the narrative. I'm controlling my respect." I opened her door. "Take the ride or the sidewalk. Your call." She slid in, angry but quiet. At home, she cooled down, and then came the first soft landing. She knocked on my office door with a plate of cookies, store-bought, but warmed up. "I went too far," she said, eyes careful. "You didn't deserve that." "I'm just in my head." "I believe that," I answered. "It keeps getting louder." "I'll be better," she offered. "Promise." "I'm not running a forgiveness punch card," I said. "But thanks for the apology." She put the plate down, touched my shoulder, and let her hand linger an extra beat. "You're patient," she added, like a compliment she had to force across the counter. For 48 hours, she was civil. She laughed at a joke. She asked about my project. I let my guard down half an inch. On Sunday, she napped during the afternoon and reappeared at dinner with her hair damp from a shower that took long enough to boil a lobster. I didn't say a word. I marked the pattern. Push, pull, pat on the head. Monday morning, she sent a group text to her friends about taking a step back from labels, and then forwarded it to me by mistake. When I called it out, she said, "You weren't supposed to see that." As if that made it different. By Wednesday, I took initiative too. I separated our routines. She wanted less check-in. She got the policy. I set hard time blocks at work. I hit the gym at 6. I ate what I cooked. I put my card on individual at the grocery store and removed the joint auto pay from my personal account. I didn't slam doors. I sent a short note. "Per your request, I'll be giving you space. For clarity, my budget and time are separate until we reset expectations together. I'll be at Marcus's garage Saturday morning. If you want to talk, text before you drop by. No drop-ins." She replied with a thumbs up. Then, "You're being weird about money." "Boundary isn't weird," I typed. "It's a ruler." Saturday, I did show up at Marcus's garage. He fixes old motorcycles as a side hobby. It smells like oil and stubbornness. Lauren dropped by unannounced anyway, sliding through the side door with a plastic smile and a bag of muffins. "Thought I'd bring treats," she chirped, "to say thanks for supporting my process." Marcus wiped his hands on a rag. "Your process?" "Self-exploration," she said. "We're all on a journey." I leaned on the workbench, watching the fuel line drip into a tray. "Text first next time." "I did," she lied, eyes on Marcus for sympathy. "Maybe it didn't go through." He shrugged. "Wi-Fi in here is prehistoric." I wasn't letting it slide. "Outside," I told her. We stepped into the alley behind the garage. "You're handling this like a contract," she said. "It is a contract," I answered. "It's called a marriage." She rolled her eyes. "God, you're rigid." "I'm clear," I said. "Different word." She tried a second soft landing. "Don't be mad." She touched my chest like she was erasing chalk. "I miss you sometimes." "Sometimes," I repeated. "Don't twist it," she snapped. Then softer again. I'm trying. I see the trying when you're watched, I said. And the ghosting when you're alone. I need flexibility. Then stop stretching other people thin to get it. She exhaled hard. Do your engine thing, she said, flinging it away. I'm heading to yoga. Enjoy, I answered. My keys stay with me. I went back in and told Marcus to hand me the ratchet. That's the second sweet patch in a week, he said. Like frosting on cardboard. I know, I said. I'm not eating it. The public moment hit the following Friday. Jen hosted a backyard barbecue for the neighborhood. Kids ran everywhere. Music low, the kind of suburban lull where the loudest thing is the ice in a cooler. Lauren showed up late. Hair done, eyes bright. She barely glanced my way. Eventually, we ended up near the grill with 3 couples. The conversation drifted to weekend plans. I'm thinking of a solo retreat, she announced. Maybe a reset, if you will. 2 or 3 weeks. Separate spaces can be healthy. Someone whistled. A break. She smiled. A pause. Like when a song is good, but you need a sip of water. Jen's husband raised his eyebrows at me. The silence turned into audience. You're informing me now? I asked. It's my life, she replied. I'm done asking permission to breathe. I set my plate down. No one's asking you to stop breathing. I am asking you to stop doing press releases about our house and backyards. She laughed, not with me. You're making people uncomfortable. You're making a point, I said. Here's mine. If you want rules, I'll give you some. If you want pause, it's mutual. No access. No shared calendar. No shared bed. And you don't get to check back in like you worked a double. Jen stepped in, eyes wide. Maybe table this. No, I told her calmly. We're good. I looked at Lauren. Last time. Keep our marriage off public channels. If you bring it up again in front of people, I end the contract in private with a signature, not a speech. The group was frozen. Lauren's smile faltered. Wow, she said, like I'd stepped on her line. Threats. Not a threat, I replied. A decision I'll make once. We finished our plates. I helped tidy up. On the way home, she started in. You humiliated me in front of our neighbors. You announced a pause like a weather alert. They were supportive. They were curious. I corrected. New rule stands. She didn't speak for the rest of the ride. At home, she took a long shower and went straight to the guest room, door shut. I slept. In the morning, I found a neat note on the kitchen island. I need space. Don't call or text me. I'll come back when I'm ready. She'd underlined space twice. I stared at the paper. Then at our dog who tilted his head because he knew this wasn't a normal Saturday. I wasn't going to chase. I did check one thing. The shared family location feature I'd set up months ago after she'd been stuck on the highway once. I expected to see her at her parents' house across town or at her friend Sarah's condo. The blue circle hovered over a street I didn't recognize, in a different neighborhood entirely. I zoomed in. A house I'd never been to. My stomach didn't drop. My pulse didn't spike. It was like reading a receipt you expected but didn't want to keep. I put on a jacket, grabbed my keys, and drove. The house looked like every other new build on that block. Gravel landscaping, big window everyone pretends is private. I parked down the street. I didn't knock. I waited. 10 minutes later, the door opened. Lauren stepped out, laughing at something behind her. A man followed. I didn't know him. He was ordinary, trim beard, pale blue button-up, the kind of guy you see at the hardware store picking paint samples. They threaded fingers as they walked to a car. He opened her door first. She brushed his arm. I didn't move. I took 3 quick photos from across the street. They got in, drove off toward the main road. I followed far enough to watch them pull into a restaurant lot and head inside. That was enough. There's a version of me that stomps in and flips the table. That guy doesn't pay my mortgage. The version of me who does went to a lawyer. The office was open on Saturdays. I sat across from a calm woman in a navy suit who listened like a surgeon. I handed her the note and showed her the pictures. I'm not interested in a war, I told her. I'm interested in clarity. That's what we do, she said. We file, we propose terms, we move forward. Do you want to serve today? I want to set boundaries today, I answered. File. Draft the papers. I'll handle my end at home. On the way back, I stopped at a hardware store and picked up new locks. At the house, I pulled boxes from the garage and went room to room. I didn't toss. I folded. Jewelry into the travel case she liked. Shoes paired, not dumped. Clothes packed by type. Bathroom items in sealed zip bags. I took her framed photos off the walls and set them face down while I worked, then slid them into a box labeled with her maiden name. I placed the note she left me on top like a shipping label. Neighbors walked by. Our mailman did his loop. I didn't hide. When the boxes were done, I called a courier service. Pick up at 4. Deliver to her parents' address, I said. Signature required. Done, the dispatcher replied. At 3, I changed the locks. At 3:30, I set her keys in a small envelope inside the box marked miscellaneous. At 3:45, I took the dog for a 10-minute loop and came back for the pickup. The courier loaded the boxes and drove off. I sat at the kitchen table and typed a message. No speech. No pageantry. Your space is filed with a professional. Don't thank me. Your things are at your parents'. Do not call or text me again. I hit send. The phone rang within a minute. I let it buzz, then answered on speaker. What is this? She shouted. Where are my things? At your parents', I said. Enjoy the space. You're overreacting, she yelled. I just needed time. You're getting all the time. This is cruel. This is clear. I'm not with anyone. She threw in quick. Tell the man from the blue house I said hello. I replied. And forget my number. I'm saying this once. You can't just. I hung up. 20 minutes later, I heard the screech of tires. She pounded on the door like it owed her money. Open up. Are you serious? You're ending our marriage because I went to a friend's house. I opened the door and stood in the frame. If you keep making a scene, I said, calm, I will involve the appropriate authorities. Do not come back here. You don't live here anymore, and there's nothing for you on this porch. You're throwing me away, she cried, voice warped with fury. No, I told her. You walked out. I'm locking up behind you. She tried to push past me. I didn't budge. She stepped back, furious, then broke into ragged tears when she realized the playbook wasn't working. You'll regret this, she said. Doubtful, I answered. Take care, Lauren. I closed the door. I latched it. I set her garage door opener on the table by the window where she could see it through the glass, just out of reach. She stared at it, then at me, then down at her phone, and finally she left, mumbling a threat she couldn't cash. I sat down and watched the dog lay his head on my foot like always. I didn't feel triumphant. I felt finished. The next morning, I cleaned properly. I returned her mail to sender. I texted Jen and Marcus. It's done. Divorce filed. Please keep details tight. Jen sent a heart. Marcus replied with a thumbs up and beer when ready. Work on Monday was bracing air. I told HR the bare minimum. Marcus came by my desk. You good? He asked. I'm steady, I said. Forward only. You know she'll try to twist this, he warned. Let her try, I replied. I kept receipts and sent her belongings to the most neutral address on earth, her parents. I meant to keep my head down. Lauren had a different plan. She started texting from a different number. You didn't have to go nuclear, the new message read. I blocked it. Another. We can talk about boundaries without lawyers. Block. Then an email. Subject, conversation. I filed it. My attorney forwarded me the service confirmation and a copy of the filing. Clean. Professional. I signed what needed signing. 2 days later, Lauren showed up at my office lobby. She had sunglasses on inside. That tells you everything. The receptionist called my extension. There's a Lauren here to see you. Tell her she can email my attorney, I said, and that I'm not available. I didn't think she'd escalate. Then she texted Jen and asked for help. Jen called me. She's in my driveway, Jen said. She wants me to broker peace. You're not a mediator, I told her. Please ask her to leave. If she refuses, call the appropriate number. I'm not engaging. Jen exhaled. I'm sorry, Alex. Don't be, I answered. This is my mess to clean. You don't need to stand in it. That night, a final softening attempt arrived, a long message decorated with apologies and nostalgia. I lost myself, it read. You're my partner. I panicked. We can rebuild if you stop this. I read it twice. She had used every emotional knob except accountability. The photos from the blue house sat in a folder on my phone like a thermostat. I didn't need them for my heart anymore. I needed them for the future. I responded with 12 words. Address any concerns through counsel. Please do not contact me again. She replied with a grand speech in 3 bubbles, ending with, you're cold. I let the phone go dark. Saturday, I met Marcus at a diner. He ordered pancakes the size of hubcaps. I got eggs. You sleeping? He asked. Like a man who moved a piano out of his living room, I said. That blue house, you ever going to confront her with it? No, I replied. I don't need her confession. I needed my decision. You got it, he said, clinking his mug. We talked about his bike project. We talked about my upcoming presentation. He didn't force pep talk, which was his best quality. When we left, he clapped my shoulder. You kept your dignity, he said. That's a rare thing. Final rounds went fast. Papers served. Property divided by what I'd already boxed. The dog stayed with me because I kept the schedule and the yard, and because Lauren had other plans that didn't include early walks. She fought for the couch and a painting her aunt made in the 80s. Fine. My attorney asked if we wanted to attach anything else. I sent the photos and the note in a confidential packet, not to punish, just to establish reality and keep the proceedings lean. Funny how facts make lawyers efficient. There was one last door scene. She tried one more time, the week before the final signatures. It was raining, and we both stood under the lip of the porch roof. Me inside, her outside like we were acting in a play no one would buy tickets to. You don't have to destroy everything, she said. I'm not, I replied. I'm just not volunteering for a job you vacated. You made it impossible to come back. That was the point. I rested my hand on the door frame, not dramatic, just done. Here's my last word to you at the door. Respect isn't a coupon. You don't get to redeem it later. She swallowed and glanced at the garage opener on the table where I'd left it until the courier took the boxes. She half smiled, like she remembered the old rhythm. It didn't land. If you move forward with this, she said, don't you dare act like you loved me. I did, I said. I loved you enough to end it when you stopped. She flinched, not at volume, at certainty. Then she left the porch again, the way people leave when the house isn't theirs anymore. I closed the door and texted my attorney. Proceed. It's a strange gift, losing the noise. The house didn't echo, it breathed. I got up earlier. I took on extra projects at work because my head had room. I stopped doing the kind of favors that looked like progress, but were actually denial. I called my old friend Theo and met him at the range one weekend, and then reworked my garage into a proper workshop. I replaced the guest room sheets with a workbench and a toolbox. I kept Sundays for church and a late breakfast. I showed up for Marcus's bike rebuild without checking a permission slip. The promotion came 3 months later, after a presentation I would have fumbled if my brain was still running 2 calendars. Director, my boss said, sliding the paper across the conference table. You've been carrying this weight for a while. We're just giving it a name. I bought myself an old pickup and tuned it with Marcus over 2 Saturdays. I learned how to make a proper omelet. Small victories count. I reconnected with Evelyn, a friend of Jen's who laughed easily and didn't use the word process like it was a magic spell. I kept that slow. I kept everything slow. I kept my boundaries quick. I heard about Lauren through the grapevine. You can't stop. She moved to a different city to start fresh. She and the blue shirt guy lasted a month past the divorce. He wasn't a villain. He was a phase. You can't build a life on a phase. She reached out to Jen once to say she regretted how public she'd made things. Then she asked if I'd consider a conversation for closure. Jen told her, he's not taking that call. She wasn't wrong. Sometimes people ask me if I feel proud of how I handled it. Proud isn't the word. I feel consistent. I gave what I promised. When it was refused, I gave a line. When the line was crossed, I gave a door. When you're a man in a situation like that, you don't need to be a hero. You need to be the kind of person you'd hire to run your own life. Decisive, calm, allergic to theater. If you want a last line, here it is. When I sent that message, your space is filed, I wasn't being clever. I was confirming a reality she'd been testing like a fence. She wanted freedom with a spare key in her bag.